Welcome back to the Neutral Zone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Utah Utes as we continue along with our preview series. Can Kyle Whittingham turn this program back around and compete for a Big 12 title? As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to join the nation. Let's get right into the video. Last season was abysmal for this Utah program, to say the least. Losing 7 straight games to finish your season. Obviously, you beat UCF at the very end, but a 7-game losing skid, is absolutely unacceptable for a program who basically ran through the Pac-12 for 3 to 4 seasons a couple years back with Kyle Whittingham. But we are in a completely new era of Utah Utes football. I never thought I would say this, but Cam Rising is gone. Cam Rising has been there since I was in high school a decade ago, which is what it feels like. But I still believe in this Kyle Whittingham program, the coaching style. I think this team is built within the trenches defensively. I think they're going to run the ball very effectively. I am willing to put a lot of money on it that this team will not finish under 600 this year. Under 500. I don't know why 600. Under 500. I was thinking 6 and 6. But I don't think this team finishes under 500. I've said this so many times about these one possession losses and one possession wins. You lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your 7 losses were by one score. Now, I'm not going to be crazy and say if you flip all of them, then this team is 11-2 or 10-2 or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I think context matters. I think when you lose by 5-6 points every single game on a 7-game losing streak, I think that needs to be stated. Obviously, they got blown out by Colorado on the road, but outside of that game, every game was close. So when you look at it from that perspective, I don't think you're going to go 2-7 in conference this year. And we're going to get into my prediction. If you guys watched the Kansas State video, you watched the Arizona State video, you saw how I feel about Utah in those 2 games. But I think this team is going to be very, very improved. I've been very high on the Utah Utes program since we started this channel. I think they're the most disrespected team in college football. And I think Kyle Whittingham is going to use last season as diesel fuel to propel this team to, I would say, familiar heights. I'm not going to say new heights, but I'm going to say familiar heights to where they were a few seasons back. But how do you feel about this team as I flip to the next screen?
I'm going to change it up a little bit. I know or understand 5-1 loss games, but I think we got to look at context. Utah played amazing defense, which is literally Kyle Whittingham's calling card. I think they're always going to play very good defense. They did not play great offense, and they have not played great offense anytime Cam Rising has
really quick. Sorry. I have Isaac Wilson on key losses. He did not transfer out. That's why he's on returners as well. So my apologies for people who are going to see that and comment that immediately. Let's nip that in the bud now. He's still on the team.
Yeah, but I anytime Cam Rising has not been in a quarterback, that offense has had issues. Now, obviously, what you're hoping for is that Dampier or Johnson, the dual threat quarterback, and I would say the scrambling quarterback, Johnson or Dampier over from New Mexico, can give this offense some form of life. Where I have concerns is I think Dampier is leading as the number 1 quarterback. This is a guy at New Mexico last year that was under 60% completion percentage, 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That doesn't bode for me a lot of confidence that he takes over this Utah offense and looks better than he looked at New Mexico last year. I don't feel like he's going to take the step up that Utah would need to be good. Utah defense is going to play great. I think they're always going to be good. They're always going to be able to keep them in games. I still have major concerns about this offense, especially at the quarterback position. Again, because we have seen that without a dynamic quarterback or a very good quarterback, and for as long as Cam Rising played college football, and I think he literally tried to play again this year, when he's not in that offense, when they don't have a good quarterback who can get them into good plays and get the ball, it's literally night and day. I've never seen a team as much night and day from when Cam Rising was in. Cam Rising in, this is a playoff caliber team. Cam Rising out, this is a 5-17. So the question is, can somebody, whether it be Dampier or whether it be Nate Johnson, Can they replicate the success that Cam Rising had? And I have major concerns about their ability to, especially when you consider that they're bringing in their projected starters at wide receiver, all three of them. So that's Whitmore, that's Ryan Davis, that's Otto Tia. All three of them are transfer portal. Their projected starter and backup at running back, Wayshawn Parker and Nakrilli. I don't know if that's how you say it. Rogers, both transfer. I don't think that's how you. I don't think that's how you ignite an offense. If it was one or two, yes, but you're talking about every skill position projected starter this upcoming season are guys that were not here last year.
So I think we saw this team go 5-7 last year with a very, very bad offense, like you said. I don't think the offense can get much worse. So I'm going to start there. I don't think the offense can get much worse, and I think the defense is going to get better. I think the defense is going to be very, very stout this year. You bring back your top 2 or 3 leading tacklers, your top 2 or 3 leading interception guys on the back end. And I think what really drives home this Utah team for me is you have arguably 2 of the top 4 offensive tackles in college football in Caleb Lomu and Spencer Fano. Both of them were probably first-round picks, but I know both of them are listed on the big boards in the draft space as top 20 picks in the draft. And I think when you're able to shore up both ends of the offensive line, I think that only helps the running game as well as the quarterback. Now, like we said, the quarterback is the issue for this team. Isaac Wilson, Zach Wilson's little brother, was going to transfer out, but ended up staying. Nate Johnson went to Vanderbilt, comes back to Utah now, and then Devin Dampier from New Mexico. So we don't know who's going to play quarterback for this team. So let's get that out the way now. I think I'm not going to say this team can go only as far as the quarterback can allow it, because at the end of the day, you lost 5 games by 1 possession. I don't think, I think I could have been the quarterback and you still could have somehow won the damn game, because the defense played that good. I think the defense, we were watching games where the defense
box right, huh?
Box right. We were watching games where the defense was literally getting 5, 6, 7 stops in a row, and the offense could not move the ball. I think when you have 2 legitimate first-round tackles on one team, you have to be able to run the ball. And Wayshawn Parker comes over, I think, from Washington State. I think he had 700 yards rushing for them last year. Ryan Davis had 700 yards receiving. Otto Tia had 700 yards receiving from Utah State. So although these guys have not been on this team, these are experienced guys at the collegiate level. Both Otto Tia and Ryan Davis are both 5th-year or 4th-year seniors in their own respective, college careers. So I want to see what this offense looks like this year. I'm not saying I'm optimistic it's going to be the best offense in the Big 12, because it's probably going to be a bottom offense in the Big 12. But I think this defense can be a top 5 defense in all of college football. And I firmly believe that. And not to say that, I think I'll say that statistically speaking, because I don't think if Utah played in the SEC or the Big 10, they'd be a top 5 defense in college football. But I think when you're looking at the talent they're playing against, I think they can shut down any offense that is on their schedule. And with that being said, I think they're going to do that. I have this team going 11-1. I think this team is going to make a massive jump this year. I think they lose in Morgantown at West Virginia, but this team will be in the Big 12 title game. They're going to lose to Kansas State in the Big 12 title game in a rematch. But y'all heard it here first. Utah fans, I'm on board with y'all this year. Y'all know what happened when I went on board with Louisville. I said it before. They were going to take a spot from Clemson or Florida State and get the ACC title game. Utah is about to turn a lot of heads this year. Kyle Whittingham has a lot of that diesel fuel, pent up. He got a whole gas station ready to keep this train going. And I think this team is going to be dangerous. I expect this team to be, I think they'll be fringe playoff, because I think losing in the Big 12 title game is going to knock them back a bit, because I think it depends how everything else shakes up in the SEC. But I could also see this team going 4-8. That's why I have the floor at 4-8. It just depends on what this offense can do. But although I'm not a believer in any quarterback on this roster, I think if I was the coach of this team, and Kyle Whittingham is 1,000 times better coach than my couch potato sitting behind is, if I was the head coach of this team, I would run the ball every single play. I would come out with Nate Johnson and Dampier, and I'm not going to say I would run read option or Army's playbook, but you have a stout offensive line. You have the best defense, if not a top 3 defense in the Big 12. Get points when you can get points. That's the way I see it. Don't try to do something that you can't do. I think last year you're trying to drop back with Isaac Wilson and throw the ball over the place. That's not Utah's calling card. That's never been Utah's calling card. They were winning the Pac-12 title game against USC and Caleb Williams by winning in the trenches. I think Utah can do that. I think outside of Arizona State and Kansas State, I think you have a good chance to beat everybody on the schedule. And obviously, I have you losing to West Virginia. I think it's a 50-50 game. I think West Virginia and Morgantown is a very underrated environment, so I have you losing that game. But I think you can win every game on the schedule solely based on your defense. Because if we go back and look at, year 2024, I think you could have won every game on this schedule solely based on your defense. Obviously, you lost to Colorado big. Colorado was an anomaly. I feel like they were so up and down. But outside of that, every other game was right within reach, and you had probably the worst offense in Utah Utes history. So I think with the defense coming back with a lot of talent on the defense side of the ball, I don't think the offense can get much worse than it was last year. I think if you can even take 2 steps forward on this offense, I think you can swing some of those one-possession games. Obviously, I have you swinging a bunch of them. So I have Utah going 11-1. This could be a bullseye take. This could be a Kevin Hart cold as balls take. I want to know what your 5-7 prediction came from, though.
I think this may be our one of our widest spreads ever, because this is one of my lower predictions in our history of doing this. As much as I believe in this Utah defense, I don't disagree with anything you said about this defense. I have that much disbelief in this Utah offense. There is nothing yet that has given me the confidence to say, I think that the defense is going to keep them in a bunch of games. But teams are going to score on them eventually, which just happens, especially if your offense can't move the ball, especially if your defense has to stay on the field for long periods of time. Your quarterback can't complete completions. Now, what I didn't think about, I agree. I think this is a team that if I'm Utah, I tell them quarterbacks, get very comfortable turning around and handing that ball off, because Wayshawn Parker may be your only way. I don't feel confident in any of these quarterbacks being able to come up big in the big moment. And again, this is a tough schedule. Remember, that's a UCLA team with Nico, a dual threat guy. West Virginia, as you mentioned. We talked about Arizona State. I suspect they're going to be pretty good. We'll talk about BYU here in the future. I suspect they're going to be pretty good. Colorado put a whooping on them last year. Obviously, different team, but Colorado still has a lot of talent. Baylor has a lot of talent. Kansas State, we talked about as our Big 12 champion or in those conversations. This is a tough schedule with a team that is so one-dimensional. And until I see Utah play good offense without Cam Rising in the quarterback position, because we've seen this isn't a one-year anomaly. Although Utah was winning games prior to, when Cam Rising got hurt 2-3 years ago, they struggled when he got hurt. Right? So this wasn't just last year Cam Rising got hurt, the offense tanked. But they had issues when he wasn't in previous seasons as well. You got to show me. I absolutely believe in Kyle Whittingham and his ability to put a good defense out there. And so I'm not shocked. That's why my ceiling is also so high, because if this offense does show, and like you said, I don't think you need this to be, again, I don't think you need this to be up and down the field. I think you need a serviceable offense that can get you. I think if this offense can get you any game and get you 30 points, you got to feel like that's a win.
Yeah, so let us know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you can find something to get about 30 points, you'll win a lot of games. I don't see it. I don't see it with this offense.
Let us know what you guys think about this Utah team. I'm obviously very high on Utah. You're obviously very low. So this is going to be fun to see who is the closer prediction on this one. But like I said, let us know in the comments what you guys think. Make sure you guys subscribe to Join the Nation. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Go Utes!
Peace out.